Hour number two, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game, live today from the Omni Nashville Hotel at Bar Lines. Having a great time so far. Coming up this Saturday over at Vanderbilt, it's the black and gold game. You can actually hear that on 94.9 The Fan, starting at 12:45 with coverage there. And to talk more about that into spring practice, we bring in Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee, who is with us now. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I've got a better idea. Listen to the broadcast while you're in the stadium. How about that?
I love that idea. I think that is the perfect thing to do. It helps us both out, and I know that it's free. Fans can claim tickets on the website on the football schedule page. So just go to vucommodores.com, and you can get your tickets and come hang out. How has spring practice been for you guys?
It's been good. I mean, I think spring ball for coaches is the best because you're just focused on progress and trying to just get better every day. I think our guys have maintained an energy level and an intensity. They've been physical, and we've covered ground. Well, we've gotten somewhere this spring. Obviously, we're not ready to play yet. We got a long way to go, but I think I'm proud of the way the guys have approached the work, and we're excited to be out there Saturday in front of the fans and show them where we've gotten to, and also excited to turn the page and get to the work that we need to do in the summer to be ready for training camp.
So, I feel like it's ever evolving. Is the transfer portal done, or is it still open?
The transfer portal's done. So we have. I mean, there are some guys that are probably looking for homes still, but there's not a second portal window this year. We went to one window in January, and so we know who our team's going to be. We'll add a couple of parts this summer from guys that are graduating high school, and we'll be joining our roster in the summertime. But on the whole, it's nice to know who our team is. It's nice to know that that's not going to change, and we can really just focus on the work that needs to be done moving forward.
We're talking to Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee on the Chasing Big Joe show. Coach, I think I asked you this before when you were on. What is your goal of spring ball? Because I think I told you when I played college spring ball, we just beat the hell out of each other in spring practice. We didn't learn much. You're obviously a lot smarter than my coaches back then. What is your goal for spring ball?
Well, it's a chance to start formation of a football identity as a team. So, can I teach them and can we understand what good football looks like? What are the kind of foundational elements of playing good football? And for us, that's playing with effort, fundamental mastery. So the work in individual drills to really internalize the technique we're going to need to win. Can we be physical? Can we start to understand what execution of our systems looks like? Can we be a smart team that learns how to study film, making the available play to put pressure on the other side, and then playing with pre-snap and post-whistle discipline? Those 7 things are what we focus on, kind of bringing to the forefront every day and really trying to just form our identity as a football team into playing of football. Different than when you and I played. These aren't 3-hour sessions. They're 90 minutes, 95 minutes where we're in and out. We work with efficiency. We want to attack the work with urgency and get our work done and also focus on recovery. So what I've told the guys is it's 5 weeks in preparation for 5 months. So we have to focus on our habits, behaviors, our systems for recovery, knowing that spring ball is 5 weeks, that we need to. It's a test run for what will be a 5-month grind or a 5-month marathon in the fall.
Well, I know you've been asked this a million times, but what was the goal for you for Jared Curtis during the spring practice?
We needed to see him just at the beginning of his time learning systems process, gaining familiarity in the system, gelling with teammates. And really my goal for him was to go out there and make as many mistakes as he could possibly make so he could learn from them. And I've been really impressed with him, man. I got to tell you, this guy is humble. He's hardworking. He's very aware of the things that he needs to be doing to improve himself. And we have a good baseline for him now that we can kind of shift attention in the summer to how we fine tune him in his process and what he's looking at pre-snap and post-snap, and give him the best chance to win the job in training camp. Obviously, these 4 guys are competing hard. They all want the job, and they've all had moments of explosive play, and I'm proud of the progress they've all made. Jared's the new one. Jared's got the most ground to cover in terms of just the mental parts of this, but we have a good plan for him this summer, and my goal is for all four of these guys to feel like they all got a fair shot at the job, and the best man wins. But what's been cool about Jared is as he's learning, as he's growing, the physical tools are undeniable, and so fans will be able to see this on Saturday. But the ball off his hand looks different. His ability to be explosive in the pass game. We've had him live a couple times this spring where he's been able to create with his legs. There's a lot to be excited about there, and for us, it's just a matter of how we help him fill those mental gaps that put him in a position potentially to strengthen the performance of the other 10 players on the field.
Clark Lee is with us. Along those lines, Coach, do you with him being a freshman, him being a young guy, I mean, you got a senior, a junior, a sophomore, and a freshman in your quarterback room, which is pretty cool. But do you almost want to see some of those, like, thinking like a freshman, thinking like a guy that this is new to him because that's going to help you teach him more? Or, I mean, if he comes in and like he may be a freshman, but he's acting like, he's done it before and been there for a few years, is that what you're looking for, or is it a little bit of both?
No, right now it's the freshman. We want to see the freshman. We want him to not try to hide from the progress he needs to make. One of the things that's interesting, and again, we're talking about someone who has elite skills, elite tools. And so, he can get himself out of problems with the velocity of his ball and his ability to put it where he needs it to be. And so some of the gaps that he has mentally, he's covering with just the physical abilities. But, to win at the level we want to win, we're going to need to combine both. He's going to need to have a process that he's kind of stapled to before the ball snaps. That's going to allow him to be on time and in rhythm with his receivers and really play within the structure of the offense. But what we've seen from him is when it breaks down, he's got an incredible creative expression that comes to the forefront and has been a lot of fun to watch. But we want to put him in stressful situations right now, just like we want to put all four of those guys in stressful situations. We want to learn where they're strong, where they need attention and work, and I think we've accomplished that. Again, I think they're all four problem solvers in their own way, and it's been fun to watch them navigate some of the tough situations where we put them behind the chains, off schedule on second down, and then to be off schedule on third down, multiple blitz looks and 7 up on the line of scrimmage, just trying to get them in a mode of, again, problem solving from that quarterback position. A large part of that is mental, and then there's a part of that that's also physical. And with Jared in particular, the physical parts of it are, again, undeniable. I mean, you see him every day. The mental parts of it are where we're working, and it's not a lack of capability. This is a really smart guy who's really excited to learn the position. It just takes some time and repetition. That's the process we're in now, and that's why I'm not in a rush, to name a starter, because we need to see where he can get to, and we need to see where the other guys measure out, and we need to make the best decision for this team to win in our first game.
That's why you're a very good head coach, and Chase and I will never be a very good head coach. Coach, a week from today, I know it's a spring game is this weekend, but a week from today could be a nice weekend for the Vanderbilt Commodores, Diego in the draft, Eli Stowers in the draft. I want to ask you personally, though, what's it like to see a guy that has bought into your program get to the next level? It's got to be a great feeling. Whether it was here, Notre Dame, wherever you were, it's got to be a good feeling to see a guy that you've coached and loved on get to the next level.
It's incredible, and I've been fortunate in my career to be able to experience it a number of times now. But I will tell you that it feels different as a head coach, and I think particularly when you talk about Vanderbilt and this program and where we've come from. We have not had a lot of draft picks here. In fact, I've had one in my time, and that was our long snapper a year ago, and obviously, we celebrate that, but I'm really interested in continuing to grow this program to where you're hearing Vanderbilt players' names called often in the draft. And so I feel like this draft is a great next step for us. I'm so excited. Part of the reason I work is to facilitate the dreams of the players. and certainly draft weekend will be a dream come true for a lot of those guys. And the other thing too is we'll have a number of guys that'll sign free agent contracts after the draft that have been such deeply impactful players in our program, and we're going to look up, and these guys are going to be playing long careers because of who they are and the kind of workers they are, and again, how we've collaborated in their growth here over the last, in some cases, 4 or 5 years. So big moment. Obviously, so excited for Diego, so excited for Eli. Great for Vanderbilt football. Want to continue to see Vanderbilt players featured as they take the next steps towards their long-term dreams.
You talked about Jared's process in growing as a quarterback in your program. What Diego accomplished with you all in the last couple of years. You've said glowing things around him, but if an NFL team does take a chance on him, and I believe they will, I believe his name will be called next weekend at some point, what are they getting from a guy that isn't worried about being too small, isn't worried about not having some of the intangibles that maybe some of the quarterbacks at the top of the draft may have? What are they getting in Diego if they call his name and bring him on their team?
Well, listen, first of all, I can't say enough, and I've said a lot about Diego, what I believe in him as a person. He is a program changer. I think he's an organizational changer. I think he's a guy that's going to elevate everyone in the locker room. And he does it not in ways – I think we sometimes kind of put too much focus on guys that are getting on their soapboxes and giving, pregame speeches in the locker room. That is not who he is. This is a guy that is dedicated and devoted to process. He makes quiet connections. He invites people over to his house. He takes care of them. They go to meals. He's, if you ask my kids, he's like their brother. This guy he relates to all kinds of people, all ages. And he'll do that in an NFL locker room too. He's a winner. So you're talking about a guy who's built his career at Nimi, New Mexico State, and Vanderbilt, and he's won at all three places. And at New Mexico State and Vanderbilt, he's helped teams to 10-win seasons. So that you cannot put a value on that as far as an approach, a mindset, the leadership, the confidence, all of it. But I think what is underappreciated with him is how good of a quarterback he is. So, I've talked a lot about his character and about the things he does in the locker room and, how close we are as people. But this dude is a really good quarterback. His development here over the last 2 years has been remarkable. I think if you look at us in terms of our offensive identity in 24 and how we got to that bowl game, we were running the ball. It was almost like an option team, in a lot of ways. Last year, we were one of the most explosive offenses in the country, and that wasn't because we were throwing hitches and they were catch and run plays. This guy was pushing the ball down the field. If you look at his metrics with respect to yards per completion, big game throws, throws beyond the sticks, he's up there with the guys that are being talked about going pick one. And so you have the combination of this absolute warrior who has such a relatability in the locker room and the ability to build connection in the most pure ways. And then you have a really talented quarterback. And I don't think Diego would be who he was if it weren't for the physical stuff, meaning, he is who he is because he's 5'10" and not 6'4". And that's actually what makes him special. You cannot deny his physical abilities, his durability, the things that he's done where he's put our team on his back at times in the last 2 years and willed us to victory, taken hits, stood in the pocket, delivered throws. All those things show up. And so I can't wait. Wherever he goes, I'm going to buy the jersey. I'm going to be the biggest fan. I'm excited to watch him. I think he's on the front end of a long career, and next weekend will be a big celebration for him.
No doubt about it. Coach, appreciate your time as always. Have fun this weekend with the spring game, and we look forward to talking to you very soon.
Hey, thanks, guys. Y'all be well.
Absolutely. That is Coach Clark Lee, Vanderbilt Commodores. Again, VUCommodores.com. You can go and get free tickets to the spring game coming up on Saturday over at Vanderbilt, and we appreciate his time. We got another coach
We
going
do.
to join us here in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Our coach, Coach Jeff Fisher,
Yep.
going to join us here in just a second, live from Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel. It's 102.5 The Game and Chasing Big Joe.